If it's just, I just want a new car. Well, why aren't you driving the current car that you have as though it's new? Why aren't you treating it as though it's new? That is living as if. That is actually persisting that I'm going to stay in this state of mind. That is the law of assumption. Now, lucky girl syndrome focuses more on luck. If I just say I'm lucky, then I'll get that car. But you see how that's more surface level, and that there's no way that, okay, well, how do we get from point A to point B here? I just say it and it just happens. So this is why I think that it is a great introduction, but it is only an introduction. Now let's talk about lucky girl syndrome a little bit. Let's go back just a bit. Lucky girl syndrome, it went viral in late 2022, and now it is 2025. And you might remember there were two girls eating Chinese food in a car. And I have the username of one of them. I don't know if this is still her username, and I'm going to spell it because I don't want to ruin it. It looks like the first part says Laura, and then the next part is Galebe. And this is who was credited with the Lucky Girl Syndrome video that went viral, where there's two girls in a car eating Chinese food, and they talk about how lucky they are and how everything always works out for them. And I think that it's outstanding. Don't get me wrong. I don't ever want you to think that I am putting down something that I originally went over. And this is now my second time talking about it. The reason why I love it so much is that many of you who listen to me, who are subscribed, who are clients of mine, you are new to this type of spirituality. And I think that when you have a concept like Lucky Girl Syndrome, it's a great introduction. When I introduced the chakra series, it is just an introduction. It is simply surface level. You have to go much deeper when it comes to something like the chakras because there's so much to it. But I wanted to give you that introduction. And so that is essentially what they did with the law of assumption. And it's fine if you need to repackage it another way so that it does make sense. That's not to say that you're watering it down or you're not honoring where it really came from. It's that sometimes you need something to be easier for you. It doesn't make you dumb. It doesn't mean that you don't understand things. Sometimes you just need it broken down for you. There are many times that as I'm learning, because I have to learn things all the time for this show, I'm like, can you just put it in terms that make more sense? Because all of this, you have to tap into your third eye, and it's got to be when the sun is at this degree. All of that is too much. And astrologers do this a lot. And I know that they don't do it to be rude. I know that that's just how they are. They do this a lot when they're explaining when they're explaining what's going on with the planets. That's what I was trying to say. My brain was all over the place there. But I just need to know, can you break down for me why this Mercury retrograde is important? And can you put it in layman's terms, please? And so that is what Lucky Girl Syndrome did. It put the law of assumption in layman's terms, but it is simply the beginning. And so these next concepts I'm going to briefly go over, but the rest of it will be on Patreon because it's a lot that I want to get into. I want you to think of something called the main character rewrite. The main character rewrite. And this is going to involve scripting. And so if you know anything about scripting, which I have talked about before, it's something I'm about to go over on my Patreon. Okay. Reverse proof. And this is about, instead of just assuming good things happen to you, I want you to look at past moments in your life where they actually have. Okay. So that is something that I'll share here. What is something that has happened for you in your past that proves that you were able to embody the law of assumption? Okay. Because every time that you're building that subconscious proof, it's reinforcing this belief that it is easy to embody the law of assumption. There are some more concepts here there's 3 more that I want to go over, but I don't want this to run too long. So let me go over my notes and just see if there's anything else I want to include in this version of the episode. Let's see. There's a lot, actually. But I'm going to leave this right here so that I can get into your collective reading, because I want the whole collective reading to be right here. But yes, if you want to join the Patreon so that you can hear the rest of this, I will go over that at the end of the episode. So one moment, let me grab my tarot deck. You know the vibes. Let's talk about the pink unicorn in the room, which is my tarot disclaimer. A collective tarot reading done by me, Josie the Mustang, is meant for a collective audience, and mainly the Lua Nova subscribers that I affectionately refer to as my new moons. Because this is a collective tarot reading, it may or may not resonate with you or someone you know, and most of my collective tarot readings are not timed. If you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, you can do so by going to the Lua Nova website at lua-nova.carrd.co, and the link for the Lua Nova website is always in the show notes. Also, I never do any sort of spiritual related work without your consent. So if you do not consent to having your tarot cards read, then feel free to fast forward to another segment or tune into another episode. However, new moons, when you are ready, take a deep breath in and exhale the bullshit. And one thing I wanted to cover before I get into the reading is another thing when it comes to Lucky Girl Syndrome, is that there's this idea that, boom, I say this affirmation and I'm instantly lucky and everything's instant. Now, when it comes to manifestation, it can be very much so instant. However, when you're living as if, the reason why it seems like you become more lucky to others, because you begin to understand this concept more, is that you genuinely are embodying what it is that you want to manifest. You're not just saying it, and you're not just expecting, boom, for it to just happen out of nowhere, like a genie just gave you whatever. You're actually embodying it. And when I talk about manifesting and how, yeah, you can manifest anything, but how are you going to hang on to it? Have you thought about that part? Or you just thought about that, I just want to manifest? That's cool. I love that. But how do you hang on to that happy marriage? You work at it. How do you hang on to this great body that you have worked hard for? You keep working. You take care of yourself, right? And so this is what I mean by, yes, with Lucky Girl Syndrome, you can say, I'm so lucky and everything always works out for me, because it does. However, there has to be more to it. There has to be more than just an affirmation and assuming, well, I don't know how it's going to work out. It just will. Yes, the universe always provides. The universe always wants to make sure, because that's what our spirit guides are here for, that we have the life that we want. And that's not to say you have to work hard every single day, because I've said to you many times, most of the time you don't. It's that you do have to actually understand that everything won't just be an instant, because you don't want it to be. If there's nothing to it and it's that easy, it kind of becomes boring. There's really nothing exciting about it, which is why I think this concept died down, is that there were many people who didn't do more than just the surface level work. They didn't look more into the law of assumption. And that's why I was emphasizing the law of assumption, because that is where that concept began. Okay. They are the same, but different. I wouldn't even say that they're, when it comes to the law of assumption and Lucky Girl Syndrome, I wouldn't say that they are even siblings. I would say they're cousins. Okay. So, second cousins. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. No, I think that's it. Everything else I think would end up making this a lot longer. So let's talk about what you're reading. I'm sorry, what you're feeling this week. What's going to be happening for you this week. All right, let me think. I'm seeing 555. That's the first thing that pops in my mind. Remember, I'm more clairaudient than anything, so I hear messages more than see them, but I hear 555. All right, let's see. Oh, starting off with the Wheel of Fortune. All right.